Valorant has a pretty short history as an esports so far, but that hasn't stopped it from producing some insanely hyped moments. From impossible clutches to unbelievable tournament runs to incredible plays. These are 10 of the most iconic moments in Valorant history. We'll start things off in the lower bracket of Masters Copenhagen in the match between fnatic and Leviathan. fnatic were coming in as the heavy favourite after dominating European challengers and FPX earlier in the tournament. Their roster was filled with talent. dapr the Star Chamber, Alpha the young Turkish prodigy, and a supporting cast of Boaster, Mystic and Enzo. They had, however, just been defeated by Red Hot Paper X, which is what put them into the lower bracket in the first place. Leviathan were a new team on the international stage, and so took the role of underdog, but with an impressive performance against DRX despite losing, and a clutch double OT win over xeppaa, they'd earned their right to prove themselves against one of the top teams in the world. They did have one slight advantage though. fnatic have a reputation for choking on the big stage, and going up against a team that was perceived as worse would only give them more pressure. And so the game began. Both teams fought hard and looked pretty evenly matched. Fracture went to overtime, but a huge performance from Alpha dragged fnatic over the line. Next was Ascent, where Leviathan's amazing no duelist attack side proved too much for the EU team. The final map was Bind, a former fnatic stronghold, but after being torn apart by Forsaken's Yoro the day before, cracks began to show. Leviathan took advantage at the opening, going up 5-1, but fnatic clawed it back. Rounds were traded back and forth for the whole game, once again going to overtime. Lose 2 rounds in a row and you're out of the tournament. Leviathan quickly snatched the first round of OT to make it 13-12. One more round and Leviathan pull off their biggest upset yet, while fnatic are once again ridiculed as chokers on LAN. A quick B hit gets Leviathan onto the site and in a 3v2. dapr dies and Enzo's left in a 1v3 to keep fnatic in the game.
Swing Enzo! You can't be doing this, son! A 1v2, swaps the weaponry around, the players are low, a single bullet on either of them, it might be enough, it could be enough! The horn dropped, positioning gained. And now that the fuse stuck down to half, he knows where the opposition is, he's sticking it! What an insane play from Enzo! Ice cold!
He sticks the defuse to make the score 13-all, and fnatic keep fighting and eventually take the map 17-15, knocking Leviathan out of the tournament. Honourable mention to Boaster buying an op on attack at 14-all by the way. This final map had so many amazing moments. The next iconic moment is about a map that was crazy in a different way. 100 Thieves came into 2022 with a revamped roster, adding Eccles as their new IGL and BabyJ as their Sentinel player. Spirits were high going into Stage 1 challenges, but that would change very quickly. In the second week of the group stage, 100 Thieves were matched up against the Guard. At the time, the Guard were an exciting new team made up of young rookies who'd made a surprising run through the open qualifiers to make it into Tier 1 competition. For 100 Thieves, this game would be a good test for their reworked roster, looking to see how it compared with the rest of the teams in NA. But with the Guard improving in every game they played, it didn't quite go as the Thieves wanted. The two teams traded maps, Haven going to the Guard with some incredible clutches, especially this one from Player, and Split dominated by 100T. Their confidence must have been pretty high going into map 3, Ascent, and then they showed their team comp. No duelist. No duelist on Ascent is pretty common nowadays, but at the time it was unheard of. The Guard's comp perfectly countered the no duelist strategy, and they capitalised. Round after round went to the Guard, until eventually the half ended at 12-0. Could 100T win the pistol and avoid the humiliation of losing 30? No, they lost Ascent 13-0, an embarrassing result, which led to the org dropping their 2 newest signings the next day. 100T would scramble to build a coherent roster, but weren't able to make it out of groups after their disastrous start. The Guard carried this momentum all the way to qualify for Masters Reykjavik, and this match will be remembered as one of the most humiliating defeats in VCT history. But there's another 13-0 in this list, this time not about a team playing badly, but a single player becoming a demon in the server. Nats was arguably the best player in the world during 2021, and the game that cemented him in that conversation happened at Masters Berlin against G2. Nats had already played lights out on Cypher in the first map, but heading into Icebox, he'd be playing his signature Viper. Lurking is a playstyle widely used today, especially by the Reign players in your ranked games, but in mid-2021 it was much less known. Nats practically pioneered the lurk role, especially how it was seen in pro play, and G2 were about to get a masterclass. Gambit went 4-0 up through Shados's Reyna, but in the 5th round, Nats lurked through Mixwell's Viper ult and into the A site, thinking that it was completely open. He didn't realise that Mixwell was still hidden there though, and so his team got caught off on the rotation, leaving him in a 1v3.
Well, leaving just Nats. He thought he'd given his team a free pass in towards the A site. Instead, he sent them to their death.
We thought Nats had snuffed by Mixwell. It turns out it was the other way around. Nats now having to clutch this one out. No idea where Mixwell is, and the snake bite not quite clearing the angle. He's about to run to site, reloading, and Mixwell completely whiffs. Nats actually clutches it out. 3 kills, 5 rounds. There seems to be no way for G2 to get off the starting point.
After pulling off that miracle clutch with basically no reaction, Nats then decided to completely take over the game with his lurks, producing this incredible commentary from Tombiz.
For now. How? No, but how? How is he there? How is he there? I don't understand. How does he manage to do that? And he's gonna get the kill on Mixon. What is this man doing?
Gambit won the game without dropping a single round, and that solidified his position at the top of Valorant along with Gambit as they took the Masters Berlin trophy. We've seen incredible aces throughout Valorant history, but the most iconic of them wasn't a huge display of skill. It might have actually been the easiest ace ever. In the opening match of Group B at Champions, Optic were facing off against Boom, the APAC LCQ team. In a shock upset, Boom took the first map 18-16, but Optic struck back with a 13-5 on bind to take the series to Fracture. Now, everyone knows that Fracture has ziplines underneath the map. These ziplines carry you from one side of the map to the other, allowing for easy attacker rotations. It is heavily advised not to use them when you don't know that the other side is clear though, as your weapon accuracy is greatly reduced, so hypothetically, if there was an enemy on the other side, and your entire team went across the rope...
No way! No way! Like this! No way!
Like I said, probably the easiest ace ever. It's actually been commemorated in the game itself, with an email on one of Fracture's PCs reading, "After a recent tragedy resulting in the fatality of 5 of our Everent Lind personnel, we are taking a moment to remind everyone that ziplines are for single riders only. Your safety is our top priority, but in order to ensure it, safety regulations must be adhered to." With Optic at so many global events, it makes sense that they appear on this list a few times, but for the next iconic moment, we'll need to go back around a year ago to Last Champions. Optic were Envy at the time, and were coming into this tournament with a second place finish at Masters Berlin to Gambit. They looked to better that result at Champs, but after Victor got COVID and a quick loss to the eventual winners Ascend, Envy found themselves in an elimination match against X10. Envy were the huge favourite to win, seen as one of the top teams in the world against a team from SEA with a few decent players, who they'd already 2-0'd in the tournament. Envy won the first map, but X10 won the second pretty handedly. Surely they wouldn't be Envy on their signature Haven though. Most didn't think so, and with a 9-3 score at halftime, it looked almost undoable for X10.
It's a great
Oh my god!
It's a great bogging.
What a play by Marved.
Oh, it's actually god.
9-3, there's no curse.
They only need 3.
It's over, Envy are through.
But slowly and surely, X10 would win round after round after round, with Patapan showing exactly why he deserves to be considered a top duelist. Envy managed to claw some rounds back, but the score reached 11-11. If they were going to cut off X10's momentum, this would be the round to do it. Crashes caught Patapan overextending to make it a 4v2, and the team rotated to A, which they thought was an open site. It wasn't.
They're moving to the A site. Cruz will try to hold on, and he gets away with 3. The lockdown will do absolutely nothing.
Cruz hit the most insane spray transfer to basically win them the map, and knock out one of the favourites in a huge upset win not just for X10, but the entire region of SEA. Another region that some might call minor is LATAM, but Leviathan showed why maybe that shouldn't be the case this year. I mentioned their match against xeppaa at Copenhagen when talking about the Fnatic game, but it truly was an incredible match, with one of the most insane rounds that Valorant has ever seen. Both teams lost their first matches in the playoff bracket, so would be eliminated if they lost this match. xeppaa were the slight favourites coming in, and showed that with a calm 13-9 win on split. Leviathan weren't ready to leave the tournament yet though, and refused to lose on Ascent, coming back from 8-4 down to win a 15-13 overtime, helped by Meltzer's 3 1v2s to keep them in it. Some of his clutches on that map could have made this list, but it was actually a major misplay from him that started the truly iconic moment. Haven was another really close map, with rounds going back and forth, but when Leviathan found themselves 12-11 down, there was a major miscommunication between King and Meltzer. Meltzer took the spike and Omen ulted into Heaven, getting picked off by Ayrin straight away, and with what seemed like no way back into the round, Leviathan looks down and out.
What a blunder! What a whiff! It's match point 4 to Bowie! You've got to be kidding me! They don't know the 4 damage! This is absolutely absurd!
I've never seen anything like that.
King satcheled into Heaven, kills Death, grabs the spike, jumps back down onto site and dies from fall damage, leaving Leviathan in a 3v4 to stay in the tournament. They managed to win the round with a breach ult from Adverso, bringing the map to OT, where they converted it 16-14. This became one of the longest best of 3s in Valorant history, going over 3 hours, and not only did this match advance Leviathan in the tournament, but also qualified them to Champions, making this insane play from King even more iconic. But xeppaa have been involved in a few iconic moments of their own this year, and the most recent one happened against FPX on Ascent. This situation will be fresh in most people's minds, so I'll go over it pretty quickly. It's the lower bracket round 2, 1-1 in the series with both teams taking their map pick. The final map is Ascent, and the score eventually reaches 12-11 to FPX. In a 2v3 retake, Angel and Xiao managed to win the round and take the game. The players left the stage, fans left the building, and viewers closed the stream. That should have been it. Then, a tweet from Valorant Champions Tour was released, reading, "Competition update. In the final round of the match, a bug caused the Killjoy turret to fire in the wrong direction. This resulted in false information that directly led to an xeppaa player looking in the wrong direction, and had a high level of potential impact on xeppaa losing the round and match. The final round will be replayed." This completely shook the Valorant community, with Twitter absolutely exploding as the stream restarted and the players took their seats. The bug that Riot talked about was this moment here, where the Killjoy turret fired towards heaven after only seeing Angel at the door for 1 millisecond. There's been lots of debate on whether this should actually be considered a bug, but either way the round was replayed, and of course, we couldn't have it easy. xeppaa won the round and took the map to OT. Incredible rounds ensued, with back-to-back clutches from xeppaa and Zekken, but eventually FPX won the map again and sent xeppaa home for the second time. Who knows what would have happened if xeppaa had actually won this map, thank goodness they didn't. And after FPX beat xeppaa, they lost to DRX in an incredible series, who then went on to face Optic in the low bracket final. With this being a best of 5, the score in maps was 2-all going into Haven. Haven must be engineered for heroic plays because this was truly unbelievable. The score is 3-1 to Optic, and the round looks to be in their hands. It's a 4v2, the Spike is down in Garage with a double hold from Crashies and Victor, and Zest is low HP. It would take a miracle to save this round from going Optic's way.
Double up. In fact, even the ultimate being committed here. What? Spray down! And a lockdown will not do squat!
RB hits the most insane spray transfer ever, and then takes down FNS on 1 HP to make it out of Garage with the Spike. But the round isn't over, he still has to win the 1v1 after Ye kills Zest.
He gets the right read. Doesn't opt to pick up the rifle, wants to play fast into this one, because he knows RB's low, and the warbangs. 5 bullets. Well, he goes for his RB swings! And wins the 1v1!
This was absolutely insane to watch live, the definition of beyond belief. Optic would win the map in the end, but this moment showed just how hyped the very top level of Valorant really is. Champions is the opportunity for teams to show how good they are on the international stage. As with any tournament, there are favourites and underdogs going in, and everybody loves an underdog storyline. Crew were the sole representative of LATAM at Champions 2021, and with mediocre results earlier in the year, plus being in a group including Team Liquid and Sentinels, there wasn't much hope for the team. This was cemented after a quick 2-0 from Liquid put them down into the low bracket, and despite a close win against Furia, they were still heavy underdogs for the Sentinels match. On paper, they should have lost this game pretty handedly, but matches aren't played on paper. It began with Sentinels winning Fracture 13-7 and going up 8-4 on Haven. Crew had to do something, or be eliminated from the tournament, and do something they did. By winning 9 out of the next 12 rounds, Crew took Haven 13-11 and the series went to split. But once again they were in a terrible position at the half, down 8-4 going into the attack, seemingly impossible to come back from. But I wouldn't be talking about it if they didn't, right? Crew started the momentum with a brilliant bonus round strat and continued it through the whole game to reach 12-11, where this happened.
And in there with the Guardian! With the Guardian!
They took the series and advanced to the playoffs, where they'd have to play against Fnatic. Loads of people brushed off Crew's victory over Sentinels as a fluke, but they'd showed that wasn't the case in this match. Another great Haven attack was enough to just secure the map, and Split was dominant as Kesnit played incredibly well. With that win, Crew advanced to the semi-finals against arguably the best team of 2021, Gambit. This would be their hardest challenge yet, and the final map of the series showed that. Crew were leading heading into the final rounds of the map, but this ace from Chronicle stopped their momentum and meant that the game went into an intense overtime. It eventually went Gambit's way 18-16. That ace could have made this list by itself, but Crew's run was so exciting that I had to include it here. It proved that no team from whatever region should be underestimated going into global events. You never know what can happen. FPX are no stranger to an incredible run at a global event, but the final moment of this video took place at Champions 2022. I mentioned the FPX vs DRX series earlier, and the Ascent map in this series was the longest overtime ever in VCT, finishing 19-17. But that's not all. It also had two of the most hype moments in Valorant history. The first in round 25, the opening round of overtime. FPX's A hit stalled, and Ardis was forced to speed up his mid lurk. Sugetsu dies in A main, leaving Ardis in a 1v3.
Does get marked though. Prowler, not a problem just yet. Another
No way!
The man can do no wrong!
Incredible scenes. But they didn't even win this map, and that's where iconic moment number 2 of this overtime comes in. At 17-17, DRX are in a 2v4 retake. Stack sneaks up heaven and manages to find one, but what does he do next?
Free.
Oh my god!
No! Not again! Not again! How has Stax done it? One more time!
He gets 2 after dropping from heaven, and this play propels DRX to the map win, but not before Stax kisses his mouse. This overtime was so incredibly hype, and I'm sure we'll see more iconic moments just like this as we move into Valorant franchising. I've been Commend, subscribe if you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.